morning, pretend sports fans, and welcome to PSBN 1, orbiting the Earth at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I am Sike Manders, and with me, as always, is Maul Padiros. Maul, how the heck are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Sike. Thank you for asking. By the way, you left the toilet seat up again. Anyway, back to what a great week here. It is week number 4 in the NCAA. These teams are jockeying for position. We have some winners, we have some losers, and we have some pain to dish out this week.
Oh, so much pain. Absolutely the most pain. I looked on the field, and all I saw was pain.
Yeah, I mean, that's the story of pretend football. Matchup this week, we have quite a matchup just like that. Sometimes when you're outmanned and outgunned, it feels like all you can do is just keep on swinging. Certainly, that must have felt that way for Coach Andrew during week number 4. Facing a 15 pretend projection deficit, his 0-3 funky butt lovin' traveled to face league leader Covey and his Cumberland crew in the Vlasic Bread and Butter Bowl. The crew had to feel supremely confident. Fantasy breakout star and waiver wire stud muffin, Cordero Patterson led the way with an astounding 3-touchdown performance on his way to a stunning 39.9 points. Also impressive was Danger Russ Wilson's 24.05 points, Tampa's defense with 16, and Amari's Cooper's 14.4. Stinkers like DeAndre Hopkins and Jamar Chase aside, the crew had to feel very comfortable heading out to a strong lead. With 146.75 points. The Butts, however, would not be deterred. All-world quarterback Pat Mahomes beat his projection to score 34.5 points, and that was just the tip of the iceberg for overperformance. Clyde Edwards-Helaire scored 18.4, 5 points above his projection. James, the Terminator Connor, scored 19.6 points, 14 over his projection, and the Rams defense had 14 points, 4 points up. Playoff Lenny Fournette added 15.3, 3 points above his projection. And this game all came down to Monday Night Football. 2 players to go and a slim 16.35 point lead. The Chargers defense held up their end of the bargain, scoring 14. And with every offensive snap, it seemed almost elementary. Surely, Brian Edwards would collect 2.36 points. Let's add some perspective here. In week number 1, Edwards was targeted 5 times. He caught 4 passes for 81 yards. In week 3, he saw 3 targets, caught all of them, and 40 yards. The Raider offense looked to Edwards 4 times on the night, but all he could manage was 1 paltry catch for a measly 4 yards and an abysmal 0.9 fantasy points. Brutal. In the end, the crew continue pacing the league with a somewhat too close for comfort win, 146.75 to Funky Butt Lovin's 145.3. Coach Andrew told our Kuzi Solber in anger that he's going to make Edwards do up-downs until he pooped himself before cutting him ahead of next week's matchup against the 2-2 frickin' Luxacs, where Andrew will be an underdog yet again. The undefeated crew stay within the briny, delicious confines of the Vlasic Bowl to smack their gherkin into the 2-2 Vagina Flowers and Coach Marion, where Coach Cody is comfortably ahead in the projections. This matchup had to have felt god-awful for Funky Butt Lovins. Like I'm amazed that they even will show up next week. That has to hurt.
That it was certainly a heartbreaker. The math lined up. Everything seemed like it was focusing on one player, and what happens? Performance anxiety will strike every time.
That's true. I mean, Dr. Fung has something for that, I'm sure. But Funky Butt Lovin' ends up going to 0-4, literally dead last. Second to dead last, I suppose. The 51ers are the worst team in the league. But second to dead last, coming so close from toppling the only undefeated team in the league. But the Cumberland Crew, 4-0 in their division, 4-0. The only undefeated team left. They're looking in strong way.
Jeez, let me ask you, Maul. Is there anyone that can stop those boys from the Vlasic Bowl?
I would have to imagine that that it's going to be a tough hill to climb. Now, their division is still up for grabs. It's still very, very early in the season, and you and I have seen some astonishing things happen. But I tell you what, the Gherkins look good.
I would have to agree with that. And actually, right on the heels of that particular segment, we have a brand new segment for all of you listeners. And this is going to be Dr. Fung's Raw Deals. That's right. This has been brought to you by not only Dr. Fung, but one of Dr. Fung's newest products. And Maul, let me tell you, I've tried this one myself. It works great.
Tell me all about it.
So, let me introduce you to Dr. Fung's Regret Elixir. It makes you forget. And just like Dr. Fung says, it tastes awful. Just like your decisions. Personally, I've used Dr. Fung's Regret Elixir. It helped me overcome my first marriage. That's right, Janine. I wasn't faking it, you morally bankrupt harpy.
Wow.
Excuse me. Maybe we should get on with the segment.
Well, thinking about Raw deals, there's one team that made a couple of deals in this last week, and they were on the bad end of both of them. Let's talk about the Sharpsville Gravy Legs. The South Sharpsville Gravy Legs figured not so happy with their team, not too happy with their performance, decided to shake it up, thought they could get some top end. So they made two deals on the week. Let's break this down, Sike. First,
Sure.
They traded away Matt Ryan and Kareem Hunt for Joe Burrow and Adam Thielen. Not a bad trade at face value. I mean, Adam Thielen, one of the best wide receivers in football. Joe Burrow on the up. Matt Ryan, old as dirt. Kareem Hunt, hasn't knocked anyone's, punched any women recently. So things are looking good in that trade. Trade. And then later on in the same week, traded away Saquon Barkley and his bum knee, and Marquise Showtime Brown for Dalvin Cook and Devonta Smith. Rookie Devonta Smith. Oh. Everything looked good. These two deals were as epic a pair of trades as we've seen in the NJCFFL.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, when you look at this on paper, with the benefit of hindsight, fantastic trades. These seemed fresher than the fish market in Philly.
Absolutely. And just like the fish market in Philly, if you aren't looking where you're going, you'll walk right into a flounder. This one sucked. Matt Ryan ended up scoring 31.85, 6 points more than Joe Burrow scored. Kareem Hunt, this is hysterical, scored 15.6 to Adam Thielen's 6.9. That's a 9-point swing. Saquon Barkley scored 27.1 points to Dalvin Cook's 5.4. That's a 22-point swing. And Marquise Brown ended up being the only one who outperformed, scoring 17.1 to Devonta Smith's 15.7. Every one of these players who was traded away by the Sharpsville Gravy Legs outperformed their the people that he traded for, and because of it, the Sharpsville Gravy Legs lose an embarrassing game to the Heartbreak. They would have won. They would have beaten the Heartbreak, but instead they fall to 1-3. Ugh, talk about some bad beats.
Ugh. Absolutely. That is a bad case of mercury poisoning if I've ever seen one. I mean, Coach Mike Cooter, this regret elixir's for you, bud. There's no way to candy coat that one.
I think that these two trades smell just as bad as that regret elixir tastes.
Oh, and believe me, I can tell you from experience, it tastes awful, just like your decisions. Oh, well, Maul, let me tell you. You know about the scalpel. You know my little steel room. I rarely follow the vein of stories, so to speak, in all of my segments. You know, my medical bay, it's not the place for plot following, right? But this week, I decided to try something different. I decided to strap on my traveling shoes and tune into the tale of the Tombstones as they traveled to the Rainbow Unicorn Death Pit to face the always deadly Rainbow Unicorn Death Squad. Now, lauded as the favorites in pretend projections, the Tombstones had to have been fired up. Standout performances by Dak Prescott once the game began netted in 28.9 points, and Ezekiel Elliott's 20.3 resounded through the board, echoed by Tyler Bass's 16 and matched by the dauntless Cleveland D for the same amount. As inevitable as the offense seemed, however, like most zombies, the Tombstone offense began to stagger. Miles Gaskin only managed a pathetic 0.3 points, and CD, that's really my name, Lamb, ended with a paltry 2.3. Left and right, Tombstones were dropping balls and missing calls. Nyheim Hines ended up with 0 points. Christian Kirk, only 1. The stage was set for the Rainbow Unicorn Death Squad to sharpen their horn and paw the turf, and charge they did, with Terry McLaurin's epic 27.3 points. Kareem Hunt, who we did mention before, piling up 15.6. Even Justin Tucker, a kicker Maul, added up 13 points. And that is not to say, however, that it was all good points for the Death Squad. LA Rams fell into their own goals, lost the Death Squad there. Terrence Marshall Jr. earned under at 0.7. And Austin Hooper only managed to reel in 1.6 points of his projected 6-point haul. The mark, however, was reached in pedestrian performances by Justin Herbert and Mike Davis, as well as Antonio Brown. Your final score, 111. Rainbow Unicorn Death Squad against 96 of the Tombstones. This time, the Tombstones were the one resting in peace. Oh, yes. So what were my findings? Well, 2 words, my adoring public: bench blues. The Tombstones left Hunter Renfrow on the bench, and though with a name like that, I'd expect him at like a dinner party and not really a football game, but he scored 15.7 points, and they sat Kenny Galladay's 14.6 right down on the pine, as well as Les Visca Chenault Jr. That man's got some kind of crazy, wacky-ass Star Wars name, to say nothing of his 14 points earned riding the pine. Only 2 of those swaps would have resulted in a convincing victory. But better luck next time, Tombstones. Hey, we all know that you will rise from your grave once more. What a bitter loss. That was the Tombstones' game to lose.
Yeah, when you end up with a big case of bench blues like that, and you're looking at a tough loss, that's got to be really sting Coach Scott Martin. He ends up at 2-2 now, and he's mired in the middle of the league. Needs to make a move if he's going to find his way. But kudos to Coach Ramona. Another huge win for her. 3-1 on the season. She currently is 4th place overall. That's a big win. And I think she's the Unicorn Death Squad is definitely on the rise.
Yeah, most certainly. Coach Ramona does seem to be aligning the stars, once again working in that veteran way to position herself directly for the playoffs. As far as the Tombstones, tough luck. You can't let the bench blues just moan and groan out there and drop games like that. That is hopefully a lesson that the Tombstones will take going forward against the Miami Yoramis. 3-1. That is a tall task next week.
Yeah, I think the Yoramis have a lot to prove here. This is another huge game for Catherine and squad. 3-1, the 2nd place team, number 1 in the Lethal Evil division, pacing everybody, undefeated in division play. The Tombstones are 1-2 in division play, and the Yoramis, with 541 points, are the 2nd highest scoring team in pre-10 football this year. So I think it's going to be a high scoring affair. I think that we're going to see a great matchup. But Catherine's coming off a huge victory. The Miami Yoramis with a big win over You're Still on Mute, 131.2 to 109.85. Coach Eric Menzie floundering in 11th place at 1-3. Another home team wins. In fact, every home team won this week, Sike.
Yeah, that is a metric I was looking at. Not sure what that means, but maybe some of the teams can use that sort of luck to their advantage, such as Funky Butt Love. And as you said, going into a match, the underdog against the frickin' Luxacs next week.
Yeah, the Luxacs have to feel that they are going to win this matchup. 10-point favorite as of right now, 6th place at 2-2. They seem like they're in a good way. They had a rough loss last week versus the Cooter Institute Beavers. The Beavers just took a slight 3-point victory. That's another tough one. That regret elixir is going to come in handy for a lot of teams in the league this week, as they are going to have to drown out these bad decisions that cost them a lot of games. But I tell you, the Luxacs, I think that they have a good chance to take a win. Funky Butt Lovin', 0-4. I don't know if they're going to find their way out of the basement anytime soon.
Yeah, that's it's definitely going to take more than than that to put them away, I think. But we shall see. Their slide appears to be never ending. But of course, looking to the game I'm most excited about next week is South Charlottesville at You're Still on Mute. Now, this is going to kind of settle out the bottom halves of the division. It's going to change the basement quite a bit once you're on the stair area, not buried under the concrete like the 51ers and Funky Butt Lovin' are.
Yeah, I would agree, and I think that that matchup has potential to be the highest scoring game, not just of this particular week, but maybe all year long. 147 and 138 are the projections for these two teams. It might be a smoke show out there. Let's see if Coach Eric Menzie can field a full roster this week.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if he can magoo his way through, as you would put it. Let's see here. We also have the Beast in action against Shooters Giggity. Shooters is defending home turf at Quahog Memorial. I can't lie, Giggity's been looking great this season.
Yeah, 3-1, they're 5th place. I think that there's reason to have some excitement. Coach Charles, he's won this whole shebang before. He's looking good, but the Beast, he's angry. He wants to make it all up, and I never count out a Swanson. I mean, granted, if I had to lay money down, it would probably be on either Kylan or Ramona, but Dan's there, so give him a chance here. He's got a puncher shot as anybody does, but I'm going to go with Shooter in this one. I think he's got a real good chance to win the game. But one that I'm really interested in could very well be the one of the marquee matchups. The Knights of the Kings of Limbs, they're 3-1, 3rd place overall. They go to Beaver Stadium to play the Cooter Institute Beavers. That one is going to be a whopper.
Most certainly. To say nothing about the difference in the teams, the differences in approaches. You know how Coach Greg Cooter likes to excel at those mind games. Just when you count him out, he finds a way to eke past you, and we'll see if that's the case here. The lines are pretty narrow. This has the makings of a great pretend football.
Yeah, absolutely. And these two teams are not so far apart. I mean, yes, the Knights of the Kings of Limb are 3rd place overall, but the Cooter Institute Beavers, no slouches, in 7th. They're 2-2 and 3-1. This is a chance for Coach Greg to show what he's got. Let's see if he can lay off the Gooter juice long enough to coach a good game.
Let's hope. And then, of course, we have the Georgia O'Keeffe Vagina Flowers staring down the barrel, the 4-0 Cumberland Crew. Not only that, they are at home in Vlasic Bread and Butter Stadium.
Yeah.
What an intimidating matchup.
Yeah, as of right now, I'm not going to say that anybody is going to stop the Crew. They look really impressive, and until somebody stands in their way, it's hard for me to pick against them. But the Vagina Flowers are rough and tumble. They definitely know what it takes to take over and win some games. It's going to be a tight matchup. They're a pretty heavy underdog right now, the Vagina Flowers are. But if anything, Coach Marion has proven that she will not back down from a fight. Let's see what she can do against those Cumberland Crew.
Absolutely. And of course, almost last but least, we do have the 51ers against the Rainbow Unicorn Death Squad. Even though the Death Squad is a slight underdog, I really don't see Glort pulling this one out.
No, I mean, I don't have much to say about this matchup, aside from the fact that the 51ers are potentially the most injury-riddled team in the history of pretend sport. They have to find a way. Yes, they are currently slated to have a slight edge over the Rainbow Unicorn Death Squad, but there is little doubt in my mind that come kickoff, Ramona and squad will squash the 51ers, and they're on their way to being the first team eliminated from playoff contention, and that's kind of sad. We're only 5 weeks in. I would have thought better of Coach Sean, but he's willing to let it all die on the vine.
Well, that's how them pretend cookies crumble.
Yeah, that is the truth. This is such an exciting season so far, and we've got a lot of great football here in front of us. And there's one thing that I know I will not be drinking the regret elixir about, and that's working with you, Sike. What a grand time this is.
Absolutely, Maul. We've had our trials and our tribulations. We have risen from our old shack aboard, just on top of old Smoky Butte into the stratosphere here, and well, Maul, I want to say I'm dang sorry that I didn't close that toilet seat.
That's fine. I already have a call into Milan Yusk to help us out with that.
Well, that's good. He does overcharge us for those sorts of things. I paid $150 for a towel the other day, but let's not get into what it's like aboard PSBN 1. Our time is over as we approach that endless horizon and sail away into pretend space. But from all of us here at PSBN and aboard PSBN 1, this has been Pretend Football Now.